All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing after lunch? Oh, how are we doing after lunch, guys? There we go, that's like it. A little bit of post-lunch energy rather than a post-lunch slump. That's what we like. I'm welcoming you back to Marketing at 2.0, and I hope you had a nice lunch. And we're moving on to our next segment, which is a panel discussion on how artificial intelligence and automation in marketing can drive sales. So I'd like to welcome up our moderator to the stage. That is Ravi Rajendra, who's a founder and managing director at Quick Digital, on stage to take us through the proceedings.
Thank you so much.
You've got all your microphones there, Rafi. So it should be on. It should just be on.
Hello, everyone. I know it's after lunch, but I think this is going to be one of the best sessions that, not that it is the topic about, but it is also the great minds that we're going to meet. And so I'm Ravi. I'm the co-founder and managing director at Quick.Digital, and I will be moderating this panel today. And we have some of the great minds in this panel, and I am confident that we'll be having a wonderful and exhilarating session on how artificial intelligence and automation in marketing can drive sales and thereby your business. I'm humbled and honored at the same time to invite to this discussion Adish A. Ambrose, CEO and founder, TimSots. Please welcome on the stage. Alifia Sura, CEO, Rooftop Sales Marketing Management. Please welcome on the stage. Kat Horsley. I'm sorry. Yeah, Kat. Yeah, sorry, I'm extremely sorry. There's a fumble. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll let her introduce. Sorry. Yeah. So, and we have Saurabh Pandey, founder and CEO, Converse, and we have also Vince, who is the marketing head at NPM Group. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. Please have your seats. So today on our agenda is we're going to discuss about like artificial intelligence. So I've actually broadly categorized this session into three pieces. One is we will be discussing about marketing automation to drive your sales. Two is we will be discussing about artificial intelligence in marketing. And three is the future of marketing. Before that, I may ask each of you to introduce yourself so that it'll be...
Okay, hello everyone, my name is Adish, and I am the founder and CEO of TimSots Digital Marketing Agency. We help businesses drive maximum sales and get maximum leads with the help of strategizing the marketing solutions as per the business requirement. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Alifia or Alpha. I run Rooftop Sales. Rooftop Sales is a sales training, coaching, and a consulting company. We work closely with CEOs and business owners, and we help them to convert the leads that marketing generates into actual sales. So we're into helping companies bring more profitable clients for your businesses, even in the toughest times. So looking forward to spend the next hour together.
Thank you. Yeah, please, Kate.
Hi, guys. My name is Kat Horsley. I'm the CEO and founder of Chai Digital. We help customers build digital communities and through to the endpoint to have loyal customers who convert to sales.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Hey everyone, this is Saurabh Pandey here. I am the founder and CEO of Converse. We are a B2B focused MarTech agency based out of India.
Hello, hi, I'm Vincent. I'm the VP for Brand Engagement and Communication of New Perspective Media. So basically we cater to both government clients and B2C clients. penetrating or who would like to penetrate the Middle East company, or Middle East company who would like to penetrate outside markets as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And hi, I'm Ravi. I am the co-founder and managing director at Quick.Digital. We do branding and digital marketing for various brands, and I'm also the CEO of QuickMeeting.com. It's on hybrid meetings. And so thank you for all introducing yourself. And I may have your first question, Alifia. So your first question is, what are the typical areas in marketing that you feel automation is a must to drive sales?
I usually say sales is a game of numbers. And technically, only 6% of leads that are actually generated from marketing convert into sales. In a typical sales cycle and a process of the sales funnel, a B2B client could take anything between 16 to 18 touch points to actually convert into a sales. B2C could take slightly lesser. Now, marketing automation helps to record this data because there are 16 touch points, and definitely between salespeople, turnover, moving on, data is completely lost. And to record this, marketing automation is a must. And we normally encourage CRMs and things like that, which really helps us to optimize the data that we collect and make the most of the information to make sales.
That's fantastic. So, Kate, the second question is to you. How do you make sense of the tremendous amount of data, right, that usually comes from your CRM tools, from your analytic tools, and convert them into meaningful insights for better sales?
It's a great question, because I think a lot of us today are getting overwhelmed with the amount of platforms and AI options that there are out there, and actually how to use them. And then once we kind of get them up and running, then what do you do with this like mountains of information that are coming out of it? And I think the key thing is to really know what it is that you want to get from the data. And that even though we're using computer learning, it's supposed to be there to help us. It's not there to be instead of us. So we have to use the data rather than the data like using us and becoming overwhelmed by it. And so if you're very clear about what the data is that you want to capture, you will know how to analyze it and how to make sense of it. Even for us, like within the social media side of things, that if you have like a likes on a post or saves or a share or a comment, like what does it mean? What is it like? And so to be able to interpret that and then to make sense of that and then to deliver that insight to the client is how you can't just use it for the sake of using it.
Fantastic. So my third question is, we know that the marketing automation software industry is estimated to reach about $8 billion by 2025, according to a study by Grandview Research. Mr. Saurabh, can you please share us a few examples of how adopting marketing automation helped B2B companies that you serve and increase their sales?
Certainly, I think that's a great question. Given the background that various research tells us that almost 70% of organizations have some kind of marketing automation in place. Despite that, there is a challenge, right? We work with some of the very large organizations, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 grade organizations, and I see that challenge there every day. Because you may have a marketing automation system in place, but you may not have the resources, the time, or the training to use them enough. So that's one challenge that I can see. But I can also give you an example of how we achieved almost $1 million of end sales through the use of marketing automation. And that example, of course, I cannot name the organization, but that organization is based out of UAE. It is a Fortune 500 organization. What essentially Alifia also mentioned is, specifically in B2B organizations, the problem or the challenge that we need to sort is that decision makers come from diverse backgrounds. So number one, you don't have one specific decision maker. Number two, you have decision makers who come from various backgrounds. How do you nurture them all together, right? You can't have one message that can fit everyone. That will not work, and that is why precisely you have marketing automation, because you would want to deliver different types of experience and messaging to different people at different stages in the journey. That's exactly what we did for this account. Instead of having a product-centric messaging for everyone, what we did was we designed vertical and function-specific messaging for different decision makers, and that messaging resonated with them. A healthcare industry enterprise decision maker would immediately connect with my messaging, which talked about the pain points of healthcare, as compared to a retail industry decision maker who would also connect with me, equally well. That was the essence of marketing automation that we did. So marketing automation at the end of the day is nothing but a software. Ultimately, your intelligence and the way you manage it, completely is going to reap returns at the end of the day. So that's what we did, essentially.
It's fantastic, yeah, and I think that's a very good example. Adish, even though this marketing automation and lead automation is becoming a must, and yet many companies are very reluctant, right, to transition because of the issues related to lead quality. And how do you think that AI can help solve these automation problems?
First of all, Ravi, let us think in two different ways. Marketing automation is a different section, and lead automation could be a different section. Under marketing automation, what we do is to understand who are your target audience, create a content around the particular topic, and then deploy the content over the social platforms to capture the leads. Lead automation, it comes in the picture once the lead has already captured. You are nurturing the lead so that the lead in the coming phase could be converted as a sales. As how Alifia has mentioned, they work on sales. Likewise, there's a nurturing sequence. And the third thing I would like to mention is, most of the organizations outside, what they are doing is looking at the contents on the YouTube and this one and practicing the same and replicating it to their business. So the strategy that is used for particular business sector, be it B2B or B2C, is completely different. The similar thing can't be adopted by observing any small or short videos out there posted by different content marketers. So this is the reason where they face the failures. The organizations are facing the failures. And that's the reason why they always say that AI and this marketing automation is not necessary for our business. We are happy to go with whatever the traditional method is going on, as from past 20 years, 30 years, of making a human calls, doing one-to-one interactions, going for a sales on the ground, which is not actually required in the present scenario. But yes, if the company or the corporate, they believe that they can achieve better results in the coming future, then they can opt for the marketing automation as well as for the AI content tools that will be required to automate the process and the workflow for the businesses.
Fantastic, fantastic. So Vince, the next question is to you. I was mentioning, right, about the automation tools, and I'm pretty sure that in your organization, you might be working with a lot of automation tools, and like, how do these automation tools have resulted in better sales and lead quality for you?
Actually, I'd like to step back a little when it comes to exploring or introducing company to explore automation in their process. I think the first step is to really understand the whole operational process of having the touch base to your customer, and identifying all those steps and analyzing how you'll be able to streamline it on the traditional setup, and then find a tool, or if you'll have, of course, the luxury of getting consultants as well, to really find that perfect fit of what kind of platform or tool you'll be able to use that would fit your specific requirement. Because at the end of the day, there's no one that fits to everyone, right? As mentioned, it is very important, because at the end of the day, the reason why you want things to be automated is for you to work smart and not hard, and for you to be able to value all these data, because data is treasure. Correct. Whatever is there, you'd be able to use it not only on converting sales, but also developing your product, or developing new products, because based on their inquiries, based on the things that they search, that's why they arrive into your platform, or even for your advertising to actually show in their, whatever tools or platform they're using. You have to analyze all these data for you to be able to come up with the right, or for you to be able to decide to what kind of automation platform. It could be, say for example, we understand that there are some companies who will probably be conservative when it comes to change, or when it comes to budget, let's say, right? So it could be like a partial automation. Like, let's try to meet halfway. What is comfortable for you? At the same time, it could be just a portion, a portion of, say, for example, on the sales call. You want to understand your success ratio or lead generation. So it could be a bit more specific, and then understand what is the right platform for you, your budget, the number of people that will be using that platform. All of these are important for you to arrive on whether to decide what kind of platform, whether you really want to go on automation, how big the automation will it be full and whatnot. And then I think what another important thing here is that upon deciding what platform to use or what tools to use is the implementation part. Because if people won't be able to use it properly, you won't be able to mine any data, you won't be able to convert any of them to actual sales or actual improvement on your company.
Very true. And I would like to put you that question that we were discussing, right? How in your ex-company there were people not able to use these tools, and maybe if you can just throw some light on that, it'll be great.
Well, actually, in my personal opinion, I feel AI is here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the fastest growing technology. If Google, Microsoft, IBM, the top global brands are already working towards it. This is a technology here to stay. I was looking at some stats and numbers. We're already at a $52 billion, when in 2018 was only $10 billion. So it's like 300% hike. So I feel there's no sense defending yourself, not going in for it. If you even see simple things like this hotel, the air conditioning has got AI. What temperature I set it on, and when I come back next time, global chains like Marriott's and Hyatt's and, these guys are putting AI into global technology. So even if you stayed in a Marriott in Dubai, tomorrow you stay in the States, they will still recognize your profile, and they will still be able to set the room or give you the coffee at the time that you want it, and with the sort of sugar. So this is here to stay. It's about information and data, which is becoming intelligent. The minute we move from here to there, data is collected. Privacy, security, of course, we've got to look at all these things, but there is no point defending and moving away, especially talking about sales. Every customer has its moods. Every customer has his preferences. For me, the first thing I want to qualify a lead with is, in our trainings, we say NBAT: need, budget, authority, and time. Does he have the need? How do I know? Is he buying something similar? Does he have the budget? Is he going to buy a Rolls Royce or just a Toyota? If I know he's buying alternate products, which I'm not going to know. Traditionally, we used to have a store. People would walk in. What would I know about that customer? Today, before I talk to that customer, I want to know everything about him. And AI is already here to let us know. If you look at retail, according to the child and the age of that child, the screen on that signage changes. So you start talking McDonald's ads, or you start talking children. If a mom's passing and if she's pregnant, the digital signage on that screen will, automatically. So this is where we're moving to. So definitely AI. So definitely we see resistance in some companies, but this is the way to go. The faster we move, the better we get.
That's amazing. Yeah. So I think AI is going to stay, and the faster you adopt AI into tools and marketing automation, the better it is. So, so what are the what are the typical challenges in marketing automation, right? And using AI in marketing that marketers should be aware of and implement them correctly.
Yeah, I think, Alfie, you're like 100% correct that it's something that's coming and coming to stay. Slightly scary though when you start thinking about like ads changing for kids. Like it's definitely like, and I think that is when you say the challenges of it is that there's a whole new world of challenges that then open up about kind of the ethics behind it. And is that a correct thing to do to be targeting kids? I know that like Facebook and Instagram have gone through so many challenges with that about should they be allowing to be advertised to kids. And then also for those platforms, like you said, with the Marriott, I think it was that they're holding your data so that any time that you go into a hotel room, they remember who you are, they remember your preferences. So from one side, wow, that's a fantastic thing. But from the other side, if that data is used in the wrong way, then it can be quite a scary thing. Even for like platforms like Facebook and things, like the amount of data that they hold on to is insane. And if someone hacks those servers, which they do, we recently had a client's credit card that was actually hacked. That was part of the Facebook. It was, and the money like hackers got in, and they managed to use their card, and they weren't able to get the money back from that was spent. So imagine that on a grander scale of what AI can hold, the information that AI can hold. So I think and then it goes back to, as we said, like AI definitely, it's here to stay. It's something that we should use. It's something that's going to help us all as marketers. And we were having a discussion earlier that even in our personal lives, there's so much AI that we actually have, and we don't even realize that we have it in our lives. Yesterday, someone asked me, can I meet you tomorrow at 10 a.m.? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll meet you tomorrow at 10 a.m. And my Siri chimed up, you have a booking tomorrow at 10 a.m. You can't meet them tomorrow. And I was like, what? Well, like, where did that come from? So it was like, I didn't even knew I had it on my wrist. So it's just about like knowing what you're using it strategically. And because I'm sure like a lot of you have used chatbots as well. You go onto a site, they have a chatbot, you start talking to the chatbot, and it starts spitting back like ridiculous answers to you that don't help you at all. So that's an example of a company that hasn't quite figured out how to use the AI yet. But if you go onto a site where they've figured it out, it's a wonderful experience that you don't have to wait for a human person to come on. So yeah, knowing what you're using and implementing it properly, then it's great. Otherwise, there are some challenges to avoid.
That's very nice. In fact, I was the one who was asking you for 10, and it just said there is a conflict of of your meeting, and it's fantastic. Yeah.
And then I said, oh yeah, sorry, I have a meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Yeah, super fantastic. So, Saurabh, I have a question on the chatbots and AI, being used in different ways, right? Like there's dynamic emails that are being sent based on the email on analytics and all that, right? So what's your take on chatbots, dynamic emails, and other tools, AI tools in marketing? Awesome. So the other part of the last part of the $1 million story, apart from the content apart from the personification that we could achieve from marketing automation, that is one. We could also create dynamic content fitted with the next one to read, which is what we see on Netflix also. But here we're using the same technology in a marketing automation platform, right? And that is how we nurture a certain decision maker. So a decision maker from healthcare industry, we want to progress him from an awareness stage to decision making stage, right? Which means that the content that we have to deliver to him, either in the form of emails, which are dynamic, or content that the person is reading on a platform, or the ads they are seeing on Google or Facebook or wherever, all that should orchestrate, right? So marketing automation by itself is incomplete unless you have orchestration also built into it, right? So this is where orchestration comes into picture. And with the help of AI, we decide what content has to be given to which customer at what time, at which stage, right? And the last piece of this is the one-to-one conversation. Can the chatbots now, when we sense that this user is ready to converse, or is at that stage of decision making where he or she might have certain doubts, right? That's where the chatbot proactively can be triggered with specific communication, right? So these all things can happen through marketing automations, either one single automation or you integrate a couple of them together, right? And at the end of it, everything is scored. So everyone who is interacting on the platform is scored by the automation system, and the sales people get to know who are the top scoring people who have more affinity with our content, and we should proactively go out and reach out to them. And they also know how to break the ice because they know what kind of content these people
so far. Right? So it's a great icebreaker for them also. Understand that most of the CXOs do not fill any lead forms. Right? All of you are CXOs. You don't fill a lot of lead forms on web. Right? You would either pass it on to juniors to fill them up, but we would not want to give away our data or fill up all sorts of lead forms. So the salespeople, with the help of marketing automation, can also see which decision maker is interested in us but is not filling up the form. So I need to reach out to them. Right? So all these things, I think there is a huge merit, and I think AI is becoming more intelligent day by day. So we are going to see more success stories going forward. Very interesting, very interesting. Adish,
Or a billion or of programmatic ads are being served every year. What do you think the programmatic ads will, how do you think that the programmatic ads will generate better leads for companies?
What programmatic ad does is it's filter out what all the audience have done based on your content once you have deployed the advertisements based on various social platforms. How are they performing? What are they interacting with, and how they are interacting with your particular ad? Those all would be filtered. The first thing. The second thing comes is once you understand the behavior of the audience, whether they are lacking it or not, whether there are more of the bots, the cheat bots that are trying to click out your advertisements and spending your lot of money or cash over the advertisements. So once you filter out who are the audience, who are your target audience, then you can come to know that out of 100%, possibly 40% of the audience could be interested on your based on your ads. They have shown the interest to your advertisements. Then of that 40%, I need to understand who are my potential buyer. Who are my potential buyer to whom I can retarget and help them get to the conversion, at least to get them opt into the form, the landing page, and then nurture him in a sequential way, at least till he makes a buying decision. So this is how it works in terms of creating advertisements. And the second thing that you ask is how programmatic could be benefited to generate leads. Programmatic itself is an algorithm set by the Google or it by the Facebook. So it adjusts accordingly as per the behavior and as per the interest and intent of the audience interacting with your advertisements on the social media platforms.
Super. Yeah, Vince, what do you think is the future AI and automation tools going to look like, and like how do you envision them to be there in the market, and how companies are going to use to generate more leads? What is your futuristic vision of the AI and automation tools?
Well, I think that's a very hard question because, I mean, like, what you know now is not something true tomorrow, right? When it comes to AI and digital technology. Like, say, for example, when it comes to programmatics, advertising, like, as you know, a lot of them are relying, or cookies would be a big part of, tracking people, what ads to serve and all that. And given that Google have announced that they have eliminated that part. So how will be, especially publishers like us, we also have some publication company under us. So how are these publications will be able to adapt and be able to serve their advertisers to the right audience or the target audience they're trying to reach? So that I think comes in, the other subdivisions of AI where machine learnings that would play a major role, where I think it's really, I think when it comes to giving a forecast of what's going to happen when it comes to digital, I think it's really evolved, but it's really going to be dependent on how people would behave, like really behavior based on what you'll leave on the internet, all your digital footprint. I think as long as we people change our behavior as well, the future of digital and AI would also evolve based on the demand of the people.
Very true, and we see it's changing a lot, and that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so I think I will end the discussion and leave the leave for Q&A from the audience. So just to summarize, so we are looking at automation tools that are being used in lead for lead automation, and we're also looking at AI-based improvements to these automation tools that are helping companies to get their leads sorted out better, categorize them better, and address the leads better, and thereby, generating better quality sales, right? And so I think AI is very much needed in the automation tools, and I think we will be seeing a lot of traction in that industry, and it's going to be, I think, $100 billion industry by 2030. So thank you for the panel, and if I'll leave the floor for the questions.
If you have any questions from the audience, would you like to pop your hand up to ask? Yes, there we go.
Hi, so I'm Hannah. Everything you've said is incredibly logical to me, and I really believe in machine learning and AI. But if you're a small company, can somebody tell me the first 3 steps, the very first 3 steps I need to take to get there?
Are you asking this question to me or Vince?
Any of you, I don't know, whoever can answer
Anyone
it.
who wants to answer it, take
You're
it.
the specialist, you decide.
From my experience as a startup, right, you really don't need to use AI tools at where, it depends on where you are as a startup, right? But then you should have a mindset of usage that, okay, fine, I'm running a campaign now, and I got, I'm generating a lot of leads now. Now, like, if my leads are not converting, right, and then that's where you have 2 options, right? Either you can have somebody to take care of the leads, and or have some AI tool help you to sort those things for you, and so that you can actually use it. Right? So unless you are actually, the discussion to the say that AI in terms of for lead conversion will occur at the stage when you are generating leads through marketing campaigns and other stuff. So I think focus on just putting effort into your marketing campaigns, and then maybe at a later stage, think of how you can use the automation and AI tools to sort those leads and get better quality out of them.
Okay, yeah, well, that's where I am already. I've been doing marketing actions. I am getting leads. So I'm still kind of missing the first 1, 2, 3 steps to actually go. Maybe we can talk later. That's fine with somebody.
Yeah, so if you're looking for, if you're already generating leads, I think Adish is actually working on some tools, so he can help you with the...
Excuse me, may I know your name, please, first?
Sorry?
May I know your name?
I'm Hannah.
Yeah, Han, hi. So, majorly in automation, what we do is there are multiple tools that could be used in capturing the leads. There are tools like Zapier. I would like to mention those tools as well. Zapier and Integrately, specifically used for the automations, wherein you can automate the advertisements, wherein the people who have visited your website, you can retarget them with the help of different sort of advertisements, like a display kind of ads. Later to that, if already people who have opted to your opt-in form, you can set a different automation campaign in Zapier, wherein those people who have opted to your form, you can send them an email marketing, a nurturing sequence wherein you can, from the thank you note to elaborating what your business is and how you can provide them or how you can help them in their business. That in that way you can nurture them, and later on you can convert them. For this, there's another tool where I could suggest, that is Vbound or Unbounce, wherein you can create a landing page with an opt-in form to capture the lead. And this way you can do you can set up an automation.
Thank you very much. That was helpful.
Anyone else? Any questions in the audience? Oh, did someone?
I have a question. in a physical activation, if we were to do something, let's say in a mall, where we have a setup and we're going to display, there was an example that you had stated where if a kid were to walk past the activation, the ad would be customized for the kid. Likewise, is it possible through AI to detect the mood of a person and provide ads for them or suggestions for them? For instance, if Netflix wants to do a campaign where they have a physical activation and a person walks in front, they stand in front of this activation, they're sad, and Netflix comes up with a bunch of suggestions which shows happy films. Or they're walking in with a pet and Netflix gives them suggestions of pet films. Is it possible to do something like that?
I think there is a lot of research in that space that is going on, and I know a couple of Indian companies that were working on this mood-based AI, not specifically for marketing, but helping them curate the content and give specific content to based on the moods of where you are, and like even they made the suggestions that based on your previous history of what you have been experiencing. And maybe I think somebody can.
I'd agree. There are many, many disruptions, and this is where the thought process of the industry is moving. So when they started with, if it's raining outside, or there are certain things which come from the internet, but then they're also identifying things on your personal characteristics and your personal moods and your times of the day when you behave differently. And so it's a behavioral and it's a geographical and psychometrics, and all these touch points are getting captured more and more. So like in our watch, we come to know how much I slept. And then based on that, that's an internet, that's a data. And based on that, it can give me music, or it can give me, so everything, then that's where your behavior can come in, right? So your BM, your body mass index gets captured. The number of steps you took today get captured. So based on that, you pretty much can tap a lot of things, and that's where the research is going.
See, as long as you don't get too intrusive, I think at the end of the day, it's all about data. And how much are you willing to pass on that data to everyone else, right? Would you want to pass on your mood data to the marketers? That's a billion-dollar question, right?
I think that's a personal choice, and you have options to opt in or opt out. And in another language of calling it intrusive, you call it user experience, you call it guest interface. So it's called UI, UX, and guest. That's a new terminology they use for the words like intrusive in the market. And that's where we call it that the world is moving to an experiential economy now. Don't tell me what it is. Show me what it is. Let me experience it. Let me touch it. Let me feel it. So include me in your world, and that's where the world is going.
I think if it's worth the payoff as well, if the data that you have to give up to get this experience, if the experience is worth it, then you're...
Well, I'll tell you a simple thing, like when I started my journey into sales, I started honestly very, very early, from the age of 16, 17, and that's the time in the 1990s when pagers and telephones, the normal telephones were there, and the mobile phones were just launched. And that was the time when people said, for every important call, I'll go to the landline. And then came IP telephony, where you could do games and everything, and then they said, you know what, I'm going to use the landline. And that's where we are at. I mean, the new world is moving. So accept it or not, but protect yourself and learn, change the questions. Change the questions, how can you secure yourself? And that's, I think, the better way to move forward.
Interesting. I'm just going to hop on the back of what you asked about technology for reading emotions. There's a Japanese company, I think, and they came up with a piece of tech called Empath. They showcased it at GITEX a few years ago, and they signed a memorandum of understanding with the UAE Ministry of Happiness. Yeah, we have that. And basically, it's a technology that listens to a person's voice, and the more voices and emotions it listens to, it learns. So it can tell you whether your staff are happy or sad, or they're angry, and stuff like this. So, office managers know what they need to do. So I'm thinking, you have something like that, and then your TVs and social medias will show you stuff relevant to how you're feeling. It's there. It just needs to go the next step.
I think it's little slowly coming to marketing. I think eventually, I think it'll come to marketing as well. But I'm at least not aware of anything that's happening in mood-based marketing at this stage.
I think they have it from the other side. I know with social media that they're very aware that the mental health risks to do with social media. So I know for sure on Pinterest that if you're looking at stuff, a lot of things that are may suggest that you're in a depressed mood or in a sad mood or low mood, it will come up with a notification, just say, hey, is everything okay? You might want to take a 15-minute break or come back and have a look at this later. So from that side, they're using it.
Start showing you photos of kittens. Lots of kittens everywhere.
I think there are luxury cars that can identify you're sleeping, right? Already. If you're sleeping while driving, there are cars who can identify and tell you, listen, you're not alert. It's already there.
It's amazing.
It's already there.
Yeah.
We have it in our Audis and our BMWs already, long back.
Any more questions for yours? We got one at the back there. Can we run over with the mic?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this one and then the one at the back. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Saurabh. So marketing automation tools and AI ML, so we understand that, and as marketeers, we understand the value of implementing them. But ultimately, all these tools and softwares are for generating sales and more business, more revenue. And there are organizations with dedicated sales teams which are separated from the marketing teams. So my query is like, have you had any such instances where you have observed such resistance from the sales teams when marketing teams would implement such automation softwares and tools, because they have certain way of working in the market, they have certain perceptions of how sales should be done, should be accepted and all. So what are the challenges for a marketer for getting such softwares? I can see the smile. So what are the challenges for marketers to get such softwares and tools accepted by the sales team so that they absorb it better and it is beneficiary ultimately for the organization which has invested in such kind of softwares?
I think Alifia should take this.
Well, I used to work with Samsung Electronics for the longest amount of time. And we used to run numbers like 100 million. That was our normal target for the year. So every week we used to churn $2 million of sales revenues, okay, for the company. Now, big companies, now that we are into sales consulting, we still work with companies like that, right? Marketing and sales don't talk. Sales is on another floor doing something, marketing is on another floor doing something completely different and independent and silo. But now what happens is, in Samsung companies like that, we used to work on Salesforce, okay? Now technically, salespeople believe that the market information is their birthright. It's nothing to do with the company, and it belongs 100% to them. And salespeople believe it's their territory to have that contact of the GM or the CEO or whatever, and the company has no right to ask them for it. And that's the arrogance that aggressive, good, strong salespeople would come with. It's like, you pay me top dollar and I get you the number, don't ask me how. Right? And so even in Samsung, like, huge companies like that, we had Salesforce, but that was used as a CRM more to record invoices and deliveries done and, delivery and customer support, that sort of a thing. But the leads, like I said, only 6% odd from the marketing funnel would convert, right? So people don't want to put things into CRM, but that is changing. And I think the better way to do that is through policies and, make it like a framework of a company and say CRM is the way it works and no quotations come out unless it's on the CRM. And there are very good starter CRMs like we use Zoho One. And it tells me everything, like everything in rooftop sales is automated. So it's a complete digital transformation. You start with something simple like even HubSpot. And then tools like Zapier and stuff. It just makes your life so much easier. And today when marketing does lead generation, there are 7, 8 social media platforms where the leads come from. Like, how do I know if and sometimes worse when you outsource it to a digital agency, because they do engagement and stuff, and then there are chatbots, but it doesn't collect, like, who said what to who on the 7th call or the 5th call, or where does it collect, So it's a must. It's really a must. But yes, this dialogue needs to continue. Marketing and sales need to work together.
Just to add to that, if you go to Upwork and Fiverr and type Salesforce support, for instance, right, you'll find thousands of them. Why do you find thousands of Salesforce support managers or HubSpot, support executives who can give you support in terms of managing your CRM? Because 50% of salespeople do not put their data in the CRM. They have never put, they will never put. Forget about policies and frameworks.
80%.
Right? You need an automation system which can collect the data as much in an automated fashion as possible. Maybe through integration of LinkedIn's Sales Navigator, maybe through other possible forms of integrations. Another problem is that every year, 25% of the data that you put in the CRM gets degraded. People change jobs. How do you update that? Your salespeople change jobs. How do you update that data? So marketing automation today, to answer your question, has this capability of updating proactively this data by mining various social platforms and putting it up to date. Right? But that's a clear challenge. I agree to that.
And last question at the back, very quickly.
Yeah, hi. So my question is, in the perspective of a customer, there's a very thin line between the company being intrusive and creepy, or the company being really helpful in giving me a solution that I need, right? So regarding the example that you gave about Pinterest detecting my mood, personally, I would find that extremely disturbing. But if I had another experience, I would like to share, for example, when I was living in Korea, there is a company called Coupang, which is basically an e-commerce company. So they collect a lot of data on its customers, and the experience I had was at night I was brushing my teeth and I noticed that I'm finishing my last tube of toothpaste. So Coupang knows exactly when I last purchased. They know what my purchasing cycle is. And then as I went to bed and opened the app, it said, do you want the toothpaste? It's gonna be delivered tomorrow by 7 a.m. So within a click, of course I would say yes. For me, that was very helpful. So all of us are marketers. I would like to have the panelists' insight on what you think we can do to ensure that we provide the solutions, the products, to the end customer in a way that is at the right time, the right price, in a non-intrusive way. And that, of course, it differs according to different markets. In Korea, privacy is much, much less of an issue than, let's say, in the United States. So we have a diverse panel, and I would love to hear your thoughts.
For sure, and as I said, it's the payoff for a lot of people. So knowing your customer, like to some people, that would be creepy to get that message and like, wow, you're like spying on me. Like, how do you know that I just finished my toothpaste? But for you, because it's useful, then it's a good payoff. So you're happy for them to have that data to track that for you because the payoff is worth it for you. And so with any form of marketing is knowing your customer and to be able to build that experience and that service around your customer, and to know that for them it's not going to be creepy, that it's actually going to be really valuable and they're going to appreciate it. And as we've been saying as well, like our behaviors are changing, and especially with this technology, our approach and our understanding of the technology is changing, which is making us more accepting of these things. So things that would have been really creepy for us. And so many parents I know, they wouldn't never have allowed their kids on social media, but now like that's changing and more kids are being on social media and parents are allowing it to happen. And now there's like more guidelines and guardrails that are coming up around that usage. And as companies, we're all going to make mistakes. As marketers, we're all going to make mistakes. There's something that we're going to think is a fantastic idea, and then we run the campaign and realize it's an absolute disaster. And so that's going to happen, all these stumbling blocks and learnings as we go. But I think it just, as you said, it depends on the market, it depends on the customer that you're serving, and just making sure it fits them.
Oh, you've no idea what's going through my head right now. Depends what you're running out of and when, I guess, you know. Any more thoughts on that one before we end?
Again, to the question asked by the fellow person over there, what is the difference between the sales as well as in the marketing automation, where we can capture the leads and convert into sales, right? So there is one more thing that you can do to qualify the leads, that is with the help of type form. Once you have set up the marketing, you can capture the lead, nurture it, and then you can help him fill out the type form, which has a qualification kind of thing, where you can qualify them whether they are right fit for your business or not. Likewise, in marketing segment, you can get those people down to bottom to the funnel, and then you can pitch into the sales people to close our account at the end.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to our panel for a fantastic session. Great insight.